Hey there, gamers. Welcome back to Cryptic Gaming. Hope you've been having a wonderful week. So we're playing Skull and Bones today. Going to answer a bunch of the questions we've been receiving during the week tonight. And then, of course, we're taking on the new questions as they come in. We bring up our hub here so we can see the chat. All right, and we are now live. So, we're getting better at that. Now, so the number one question that we get asked a lot when people join into the Discord or even just commenting in is, one, they say they're new to the game, whether they are just getting the game, have just bought in the game, or maybe they purchased it last year, played a little bit, and then left, but now they're seeing a lot of these cool videos coming out with all these new effects and stuff coming in, the new ship types, and then, of course, there's the new large ships that are going to be coming in Season 2, the new PvP that's coming here in the midpoint of Season 1, which is going to be amazing. Cannot discuss a whole lot about it, but we've been part of some of those technical tests. Some of the guys over here in the Discord that I've been a part of, we've been over there hammering it out, and let me tell you, you guys are in for a treat, and that's all we can say on that. So, now, what ship? That is one of the... That's kind of like coming in and asking a group of NASCAR fans from all over the world, asking them who the best NASCAR driver is. Okay, it really is, and in some circles, it will even start little arguments. When it comes down to it, my opinion is all the ships serve a purpose. Okay, so if you are in a MMO type scenario game, which is what this is a role play game for being online. Okay, mass multiplayer online role play game. That's what MMORPG stands for. The FPS be like first person shooters and things like that, which will be like your Call of Duty titles. If you've been in gaming a while, you've heard a lot of these terms, but I get asked a lot, so what does AoE stand for? Well, that's area of effect, meaning that there's an affected area from a weapon. Like a bombard that has fire explosive has a ring that it shows the affected area, or certain types of shielding has AoEs, things like that. So that's what that type of stuff stands for. A proc rate, that is a rate of whenever a special ability will actually activate. It has to do with numbers games. Some people say it's luck, but it's all in how you build your ship. So your adventure, really, it starts with the ship, right? It starts with ship selection. And maybe you're not having a lot of luck with a particular ship in your mission set. So maybe you need to change what type of ship it is. So what I'm going to show you is I'm going to show you my fleet. Now, I have a lot of vessels that are just for pickups of 8s and stuff. Then I have ships that I actually use quite a bit. Then I've got ships that I'm upgrading to be used even more. So the Sandbuck, this ship here, I use this quite often with manufacturer defense. Okay, the reason I use it is I like to get through manufacturer defense very quickly. If you were watching the video earlier, then you probably seen me in that. We was having some connection issues. We are now back. So we had some rubber banding and stuff. When you have an issue like that in the game, guys, for those who are new, rubber banding, what that means is you're heading one direction of ship and all of a sudden it just like takes off going the other direction in the map and you have no control. That's called rubber banding. Now what that can be, it can be you need to reset your router. It can be that you need to hard boot your system, whether it's your Xbox or your PlayStation, but turn it completely off and restart it. And that typically will fix those issues. But understand that there can sometimes be issues within the game servers themselves. So you could potentially just switch servers, or if you're having an issue, you typically will get a notification that Ubisoft is fixing to go down for maintenance or something like that. So that should cover those questions there. Now, when I'm using... this is actually kind of a new ship to me, the schooner class. So mostly what I always used was the Sandbuck, the sloop, and a battle bark. Okay, so that's basically what I had always used in the past. Battle bark, that's a healing ship. If you're out rolling around a lot on your own and you're not playing with your group or you're not playing in a group, that one does a lot of good heals. It has really good brace and things like that. So it's going to make you last a little longer on the water. So if you are a solo player and you're just in the game for the PvE aspect, that means player versus everything that's computer. Okay, it's non-player characters, you're just out fighting ships and stuff. Great ship, not a very overly powerful ship. Now you can make it powerful with these new weapons upgrades, but it's not going to really excel in DPS output, but it's going to hang in the battle long enough so you can sink whatever it is you're going against. So that's a really good ship for that if you're one of those solo players. Now I use DPS ships, real high DPS ships a lot. So like this here support class on that bark. This here, the River Rat, is the DPS ship. Let's go ahead and bring up our info on it. So this is now 7-7 on the upgrade. We got that knocked out, and we're working on our weapons. I need to also go in and change up some of the furniture and stuff, but I've got fire bombards all the way around right now. I've got another weapon I'm eyeballing for this, but until that weapon actually releases in the game, this is what I'm going with, and I'm upgrading those. If you've ever watched any of my other videos, you'll see what I'm doing with these fire bombards. We can show you over at the station a little bit here in just a moment, but this is a new ship to the game, the schooner, okay? I've named this one the Reaper because it just does such an amazing job. It really does. High DPS. It's going to do increased damage to structure, so great for taking out those fortifications and those fort walls. Does fantastic job on that. Gets a lot of weak point damage. It's going to increase your weak point damage 30% for 10 seconds. Then you can add that these other types of weapons onto it as well. This here can trigger the 700 damage explosions every 3 seconds within a 100-meter blast with your explosion broadside weapons damage. So if you're using a high explosive weapon, say, oh, we're using the Dardanelles cannon. It's a siege cannon. It does a lot of explosive. It does a great job with it. Then, of course, you have the volatile, which is going to deal additional 20% explosive damage and decrease the weapons reload time by 10%. So you're going to be reloading quicker as well. All these larger ships have what they call deep blue. Once you start to upgrade them, means it improves the turning speed when traversing the seas. Now, seas means open water, not narrow passages. This can be a hard one to navigate in tight corners. I'm not going to lie, if you're in battle. That's one of the reasons why I use a sandbuck, because it's a tight cluster area. They come in. I get a lot of AoE from the weapons there with the blaze effect. This one here, you can get that explosive effect, so I do use it on occasion. I use it in PvP a lot, so if it's a PvP hostile, I will throw this thing in there, and with the build that I've got set up on this thing, and it just dominates. So ended up in a couple situations doing some hostiles yesterday where, you know, if you're in a PvP hostile, you always run that risk of folks coming in. Using Buccaneer's Oath, that's going to increase your weapons and armor, the weapons damage and your armor strength as well by 25% for 30 seconds every time you sink a ship. And that means you can sink a non-player ship, just a normal small ship on the sea, and you're going to get that boost so you can in turn against the people in the PvP with you. And I got jumped by 2 guys in a PvP scenario yesterday and just annihilated them in no time. And then they came into another one, annihilated them again, and then I didn't see from them anymore. It was just, you know, I guess they'd had all they wanted to have. So this one here does a great job on that. Now the Sandbuck class, this is a fire ship. Okay, so here we got explosive. Here we've got an explosive. This is the larger version of, say, a sloop is what you're looking at here with the schooner. And then, of course, it's a little bit larger than a Padawakan. You know, Padawakan's another explosive ship. The Nero Sandbuck is still one of my favorites. Probably always will be. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, the frigate, when it comes out, that they're going to... The only thing we don't have is another fire ship here, so I'm hoping that we're going to end up seeing that with that frigate, that large ship. If the first one comes out as a high DPS burning ship like this, I'm going to be ecstatic. We don't know all the information on that ship yet, but that's coming out in Season 2, so fingers crossed that she's going to have a blaze and spreading flames and things like that. So there is a smaller ship up there as well. It's called the Cutter, I believe it is, if you like using small ships. So a lot of good stuff there, but there's just a lot of different ships in the game, but those are the main ones that I use. And of course, we have a little bit of everything, so if we decide to use something, we can. But the main thing is, if you're using a ship and you're playing on your own, guys, for the longest time, what served me in this game was the snow. And we'll show you that ship here. That is going to be right here, the Vanguard Snow. It's the bracing strength. Now, if you're playing in a large group, then yeah, use some other ones. This one here did a great job on its own. Brigantine. Now, if you don't really care about sticking around for the battles and stuff, the Brigantine will outrun anything on the sea, and you can just haul across the water, no big deal, not an issue. But if you have to fight, it does have a little bit lower health, so the whole health base is 40,000 on that, whereas your base health, whole health here starts at 50,000 on the snow. Now, when you start getting like sandbucks, they actually are like 35,000. They're pretty low. Bombarder class Padawakon 37,000. So not your higher DPS ships that have a little bit weaker hulls, but your Hulk class and stuff like that, your tanks and stuff, those usually will tank out real nice. But you know, early stages, I used Brigantine and Snow quite a bit. Then I opened up that Sandbuck, and that became my go-to vessel. They opened up the Bark later, and really went to that. If you're wondering, well, where do I get this Bark, this healing class Bark? Well, I showed you in an earlier video, but we're going to come on over here and show you again. Smuggler's Network. This is Blackwood. He's here, and he's also at Talak Punjara, which is the Northwestern Territory. When you come to buy and sell, you're going to notice he sells different types of blueprints. So there's like a Wrathful War blueprint, a Wailing Ward blueprint. Then, of course, we have the Bark blueprint for your ship. This is the one everyone's been asking about. Where do I get it? Here's where you get it. It's 1,000 cup for bars is what it's going to cost. If you're trying to figure out where you get cup for bars, he offers missions as well. Not just buying, but you can run missions. Some are going to have where you can get cup for not a whole lot. Blowing up ships, running the pass. If you're wondering what the pass is, this is the Smuggler's Pass. Blowing these ships up, you're going to open some of that cup for bar up into rewards here. But it's also going to be completing the leaderboard for you as you get infamy. So as you get infamy, you're going to make your ranks up. As you see, we've maxed out on rank for the season and for the week. Now, next week it will come up again where you'll be able to earn some more every week. Get a choice to earn more just by blowing up ships, earning infamy. So I do recommend that you continue to do that, folks. It's how you're going to get those blueprints. So you can get, let's see, I think it's the Battle Junk and the Bark from him this week. Yes, there's the Bark. Lapotent schematic for those who are coming into the ship, into this game now, and you're running into the plague ships. They're kind of a sandbuck class, longboat, and it takes forever to blow them up. Well, Lapotent schematic, you're going to build that. That's going to help you see the weak spots, and it also gives you an additional 10% damage against those enemy ships, and you're going to be able to sink them a lot easier. So that is a must-have, especially when you're fighting those ships, until you start to build into your larger weapons. And then, of course, the Battle Junk. That is a Dreadnought class. It does a really good job on a lot of different things. It's basically a battle style of a, kind of a battle style of a Snow. I mean, essentially, it's got a little bit less base health, starting off 48,000, but you're getting some extra DPS things. You're getting this provoke taunt and things like that. So it is worth getting that. It's a great ship to have as well, if that's something you're looking at. But probably one of my favorite as far as the support class and the tanking class is the Bark. Battle Bark. I recommend it to pretty much every new user in the game, everyone who's coming in that's just kind of starting off. So then, of course, your weapons. We've gone over weapon types a little bit. Any weapon type you choose now, you can actually add to it with the blacksmith. Now, it's going to take you a little bit as a new player coming in to be able to ascend items, because you're going to have to get where you can get those ascension modules and things like that in the game, and a lot of that's only available in World Tier 2, but you can earn some of that in the pass as well. So one of the things I'm working on now is I have Heaven, and working on some of my electric weapons I want to do, but I'm definitely getting this one done. I'm holding off on getting too crazy about it. The reason why I'm going to show you, there's a couple of new weapons I'm waiting on here. So these are those events that I was telling you about. You have to wait for a certain event to come up to be able to buy certain things from certain people. So let's see here. I believe it was a demi cannon. Yes, the Klein Cartois. So this is one that I'm waiting on. This has delayed explosions, imminent bang combustion 3. This will make a really good ship 4 when you're up there close and you have a lot of ships riding. You're looking for something that shoots really fast and don't really want to wait on having those make those real long range shots. This is an amazing weapon here for that. So this is kind of what I'm looking at wanting to get, and I'm going to build upon it as well. Now there's another weapon that I'm waiting on too. We're going to show you it. And this is really why I'm not really doing too much with the electric weapons currently in the game, because I'm actually waiting on this one. It's called Divine Wind. It's got the aftershock perk, which summons lightning strike after 2 seconds of a location that lands a shot. Okay, when you land an actual shot on the ship, it's going to send lightning behind it, dealing 2,000 an additional 2,000 electric damage. It's got the explosive 2, which adds 20% on her, and then electric 1, adding another 10% of damage as electric damage on top of that as well. So, and those are the base stats. Now, when you start thinking adding in your amplified explosions or amplified electricity or amplified combustion and things like that into those perks as well, this is going to be one of those god weapons. You know, when you talk about a god weapon, something that just smashes them. And the reason I say that is because the that auxiliary weapon that I'm currently bringing up is just a fantastic weapon. I'm going to get the 3rd stage of that completed this weekend. Could look for some of the guys. There's one piece I need to go farm, and it's a electric dragon's claw, so we got to go farm the dragon here. We're going to be doing a big farming event here in the Discord this weekend. So again, if you're looking for folks to farm with, Banished Souls is actually sending out invites to anyone who wants one. So comment down below, let me know, man. I'm gonna get you the invite in there. Make sure you say hi to the guild admiral over there, Sirius. So he also has a YouTube station where he puts up a lot of ship builds and things like that, other helpful tips. I'm trying to focus in on a lot of the kind of guide type stuff to bring folks that are just coming into the game, or maybe you've been playing the game but you never really had a very strong character. Now, what do I mean by a strong character? Well, not just ship strength and stuff, and obviously cosmetics. I think my pirate looks the coolest one on the sea. That's just me. New cosmetics come out every season, you know, and really almost every week you get cosmetics. Some you can earn, some you gotta buy. I like to earn them. That's just the way I roll. Let's see here. Yeah, so a lot of really good events. Those demi cannons I showed you, those are only available during the honorless event here. So you actually have to get those from the honorless. Now, when it comes to those bombards, they will be at your black market. So the quickest way to get black market is just travel to the smuggler hub here. I know we've gone over that in the past. And then Yanidanar or her sister up in Talak Panjara will carry these. It says that Yanida carries them, so I check in here every week. Why do I do that every week? Well, every Tuesday morning or late Monday evening for us here in the Central Time Zone, we get a reset. And when you come in here and you're looking for your reset, you say, okay, well, I am looking for a particular weapon. You know, I would love to have the blueprint of it, but I will also buy the weapon itself if it's just a weapon. But it's not currently in here. So I own all these blueprints. These are from year 1. A lot of great stuff in there. But like I said, year 1, it was a different kind of a cat, or different kind of an animal, I guess you'd call it. During that year, we were able to have a lot more pieces. 8 by this point. You have to build your empire in here, and we're going to talk a little bit about that again today. Like I say, I have a guide out. If you look at the playlist here on YouTube, guys, you're going to see where it says the ultimate Pirate's Ultimate Guide to Skull and Bones. All the tips and stuff I go over in any video, I try to watch back over the videos, and I'll come back in and I'll make a video on that with that tip a little bit more expanded in there. So definitely be looking for those videos. That stuff is going to help you out. It's not just because I like to hear myself talk. Understand, I could be playing with the group right now, but I take these Fridays out to make these types of videos and answer live questions a lot of times. And I know a lot of times I'll get to just, really focusing on stuff. And that's mainly because of the questions that we receive, not just in Discord, but also here on YouTube and on Twitch. Now, Silver, I'm 133 million right now. Maybe thinking, how in the world you get 133 million? So we talked a little bit about that before. The trick is you're going to be working as a merchantman to build up your base silver. You're going to be down here, actually a pirate. I don't merchant around much. I come down here and I sink the DMC ships. Stay away from that area if you're new. You don't want to get near the Plague King, but stay right around here. The what's this called? The Grand Fillets. You're going to see a lot of DMC ships around here. Sink those ships, get the paintings and brandy and anything else. And then come to areas like Command Grove. You can come to areas like St. Anne as well. You can go to, Verona Falls, different areas, and check and see who's paying the most. Now, the reason I say check see who's paying the most, we used to have a comprehensive list of who pays the most. That list has changed here in year 2, and I've moved beyond that point at this point. I'm over at the advanced stage, which means that you've reached Kingpin, and you now have access to the smuggler's hideout, and that's what we're going to show you here. So your smuggler's hideout, this area right here, the distillery and your laboratory in the Talak Panjara, is where your magic happens. That's where you're going to make the bulk of your silver. You're going to be able to also earn pieces of 8, sell for pieces of 8 as well. When I say sell, I mean tell them you're going to sell and then show up to the location and sink their ship and take the 8s and keep your product because you are a pirate. At least that's the way that I play this game. Okay, so we always keep that running. Now, you fund that. You can buy stuff with silver if you want to. The reason I say you need that silver early on is whenever you're coming in here and you're telling this how much you want to fund, it does cost silver to start the distillery process on those materials, okay? So you're going to need a little bit of silver to get started. Not a whole lot of silver. One big bulk will get you enough silver where you can start doing it. Supply network. This is where you're going to be coming into to get your goods to keep that funded. Now, whether you're funding the distilleries or you're funding the laboratories, you're looking for roving missions. Supply missions, you have no option but to pay silver. Now, that may change if they come out when they bring ground combat in Season 3. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I'm kind of hoping it does. Now, we're going to accept these roving missions here. And this is going to give us sugar cane and some things like that. That way we can actually come in here and change our ships because the Sandbuck does not have a very large cargo hold. So I'm going to switch to something with a little more cargo space. Moving all the product over. Okay, we're going to fast travel. Okay, so I didn't track. If you ever get to the point you're like, wait a minute, something didn't track here. So you go and track, you'll come over here. Go ahead and load up one of those. I always mark it too. I'm about blind, so you got to kind of mark these things 2 or 3 times for me to see them. Now, if you saw, each of those orders wanted me to pay silver for the product. If you pay silver for the product, okay, we're looking at 1,500 silver per helm. Now, for each ship we're going to pick up from, it would cost 1,500 silver. I'm not going to do that. That would cost me 4,500 silver. When you go, well, you can afford it. I can, and I'm going to show you why I can afford it. The reason I can afford to buy stuff if I choose to is because I don't buy anything in the game. As I said, this is a pirate game. It is actually designed. Now, there was a lot of people that originally, when this first come out, they was like, oh, well, that's using some kind of, that maybe they cheating over here. This guy's using an exploit. He's sinking the ships. You should have to buy that, right? No. When I sink these ships, I receive a death mark. I'm marked for death by the Helm. And everywhere I go, Helm rogues will harass me, and I will sink them. And guess what they're carrying? Helm materials. So I continue to sink those ships, and I continue to get those helm materials, and I will just keep my factories running. And that is how I earn so much in silver, by making products. You can make your white skull products, which come in handy. Here's the Eye of Heaven, guys. It's a work in progress, but it's coming along. You see where it said death marked? That's what happens when you start to hit the helm. Okay, so you pick up this stuff. Now, it does automatically reward you to stuff that you were supposed to buy, but it doesn't hurt to go ahead and pick up some things as well. So that is a shadow fleet. We can choose to engage or we can choose to ignore. Typically, I will just go ahead and head back to the island. They don't really carry anything I want. But if they're within striking distance, I will go ahead and send a little shot over there just to say hello. So when you check your hold now, you will see that we have the 150 sugarcane, the 150 poppy, and the 150 juniper berries. Now, you may be scratching your head going, well, I mean, that's not really a whole lot of materials. Well, I'm going to show you another material area to gather. And again, it doesn't cost you any silver. You're going to want to use a build like this, some sort of a build where you can actually siege the actual cities. And we're going to show you how you do that. We're going to make a quick run through this. And this is just going to turn into one of those great instructional videos with some great action in it. And I really enjoy making these types of videos. This is when I grew up as a kid. For those who are unfamiliar with this channel, I grew up, you know, we had Atari, and then we had the Nintendo, and then I think it was the Super Nintendo, and then there was the Nintendo 64. When then PlayStation came out, my cousin actually had a 3DO system and Sega Genesis, and they were pretty cool. And he told me, so wait till PlayStation comes out, don't bother with a 3DO. For those who don't, that was one of the first disc systems that was out there. They were like super expensive. So he told me about PlayStation, so I went with that. Then of course Microsoft then started making Xbox. I originally started as a PlayStation guy. I've not really moved on just to Microsoft. I still have a PS5. I have the new Xbox. I went on to PC gaming at one time, computers and stuff, but it was never for me. I didn't care much for the feel of a keyboard and mouse while I'm trying to game. It's just my preference. Nothing against people who use that. Okay, then of course we're going to go ahead and open up some of the stuff here. Transferring to the warehouse. Okay. Now, we're going to go back to St. Anne here, and I'm going to show you where you're going to get the bulk of your product. Now, this is where you're going to get the most product. Now, the way we used to do this is we used to do this as a group. Now, I run it, you know, by myself. I will run it as a group with folks who want to get in on it. I mean, I'm not the type of person that's like, oh, nope, it's just me. If people want to join up when I'm in game, they join up. It's no big deal. I don't know why I'm running. I can just hold this and go straight to our Helm. That actually added that last year, but it's one of the things I've just not been in the habit of using. So we're going back to supply network. And you can pick up multiple. So the way we would do this is everyone in the group would pick up a contract under a tax. You may be going, okay, I don't have a tax under my supply network. Don't fret. Fixing to show you how to do that. So, coming over here, you have your Helm map, you have your upgrades, and then you have your Helm tree. And you're going to come up here and you're going to be able to do bulk offers. You're going to be able to do ruthless deals. Going to want to do gang butchers. You want to complete this whole tree, all of this. When you complete this tree, now it may not all be leveled up, and I'm going to work on leveling it up. I haven't decided with these pieces of 8 if I want to bring my bark to 15 or not. I'm not sure what I want to do with it yet. We're going to make a decision on it later, but I may decide to come down here where I can do my gold skull products, but I'm not really hurting on silver right now. I've used about, I don't know, 6 or 7 million since the beginning of year 2. So I mean, I don't know. We may end up doing it, but I can still sell white skull products. It's not a real big deal here. So anyway, you're going to want to come up and complete this tree, guys. This is going to get you the rogue hunts. It's also going to get you where you can do the battles against forts under attack. So a rogue hunt would be right here. And if you're looking for rare materials like the gannet saltpeter, you're looking for eel's twine and things like that, you're going to run these hunts, and you have to go and you have to hunt down those ships, and you'll get a little bit of that resource from them whenever you sink them or board them is really the best way to do it. Now, you may be going, okay, what about this fort plunder? Well, I want to make, let's say, we could do the raw jade here, but let's do something else. I want to do something fun. Fort Premi's okay. Deuster's okay. I like Granby if it's up here. You know what? There's some poppy. We'll go ahead and get that one going. That's going to be for the lab up top. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to accept the Fort Hermouth. We're going to track it. Now what I'm going to do is, so this is Fort Hermouth. I'm going to go siege and plunder this thing. And when I plunder it, on top of the normal materials I get, I'm going to receive that 330 poppy as well. Now, if you're doing this in a group, you can actually get bonuses because you have a larger group. You're getting more pay and things like that. And you will actually fill your holes up of your ships in these things. The more people you have plundering, you will fill it up and you will limp back into port because you have just overflowing with cargo. So that's a great way to do it. I want to do this one solo just kind of so you can see what it is, but I do recommend playing with group. When you are loaded up in a group with 3 people is currently what the group sizes will go up to. Now you can have as many groups with you as you want. So like when we're in Discord, you might see a group of 3, but there's actually 20 people allowed in the server, and all 20 of those people will be from Banished Souls Discord group. So, and we'll actually just fill the server up and just be there all day, just farming away and stuff. So a lot of great fun, whether it's forts or other things as well. So Saturdays are the big days. So they've been farming Mega Fort Houston and World Tier 2 events and things like that here lately. I think I'm going to start trying to get together some of the groups, especially for the new pirates and the old pirates that's been on the sea as well, to start doing some of these plunders as again, because this is where your silver's at. I get asked a lot, where do you get so much silver? Well, it's doing stuff like this just for fun. I mean, for me, this is fun. This is why I bought the game, is to come up and just destroy. I mean, you're a pirate. And that should start to plunder automatically. We won't take out this other wall here. I think that's got all the walls. No need to waste shots. I think one finished that guy off. Okay, we're going to make one more pass back this way. All right. I don't think I let enough with him. No, I did not. Okay. So then what we do is we're just waiting through the plunder. Now, if you remember last year, maybe you played this game and you were plundering some of these forts and stuff, and it took forever to drop these walls and these siege towers. Understand, if you're not using a build like I have on this schooner, it will still take you forever to take this stuff out. It's not that they made that stuff any weaker. That's just how well built this ship is. These weapons that are on here are fully ascended except for the auxiliary. I've got one more ascension to do on that. When it is done, it will be even more powerful than the stuff that I'm currently using. It is going to be, now you can set it up for a siege auxiliary weapon. It is going to be specialized for ships. It's going to be specialized not just for ships, but taking out as many ships as possible. So we're going to continue to just be plundering this stuff. Since we have to plunder Fort Hermouth to the final stage. Not a hard thing to do, especially now. Now, you might get curved up with ships. Now, one of the things that you don't want to do, and I'm going to give you this, you don't want to be in a group of 3 guys, and only one of you over here trying to do this, because yes, you can do it, and yes, it'll give you some more loot, but if you're new to the game, the more people in your group, the game actually makes the enemy that much harder. Okay, it wants to match your might, your combined might. It will match the combined might of your group with the ships that it's in. So if you're like, oh wow, this is like really hard. I don't know if you ever joined a legendary heist and 3 people join it and only you show up, and then you're like, wow, this thing seems like it's harder than usual. Well, it's not that it's really any harder. It's just they're expecting more pirates to be there. This looks like one of those lovely ships that's just going to kind of cruise in. Bracing up. Does a great job of bracing. So there's them Helm rogues I was telling you about. When you get that mark for death, they will show up at everything. We're going to go ahead and sink them real quick. He had some cannonballs on them. Sometimes they have Helm materials. Sometimes it's just cannonballs. So there's his buddy. He's over here too. He's going to sit way back and try to pop shots at us. It's a sharpshooter. Those are the hardest things, or no, I won't say the hardest thing, but those are the most dangerous things you're going to run across on the sea is a sharpshooter. Now, it used to just be the rogue sharpshooters that was horrible. But now these DMC sharpshooters, when you're plundering over at Megafort Houston, especially World Tier 2, they will send like a 19 or 20 sharpshooter. And as soon as he comes into battle, he'll just smoke you, just boom, you're dead. You get one shot. And even if you're bracing and using armor that has piercing, anti-piercing abilities, negations and stuff, it's just such an overpowered ship in World Tier 2. So for those who are wondering, what in the world is he shooting there? That's got a delayed explosion on this new cannon here. This is the long gun variety of that demi cannon I was showing you earlier. Now with this ship, when I'm running a lot of fort plunders and stuff, I do have a little Grace 3 that's set up to where it will heal my permanent damage, that red damage that pops in. It'll also heal up friends. If I'm healing friends, it'll heal myself as well. So I use that a lot in those plunders. All right. So there is another wall segment here. Let's see where that's at. I think it's over on the left, but I'm not 100% certain. I'll say the left, the right hand side over here, right there where that busted wall is, but it's not quite down. That was it. And now it's down. Okay, so now we can go to stage 4. So obviously, as you're seeing, it takes a little bit of time. I won't say that it's hard, but it does take you some time to run through a plunder. Granby is probably one of the best payouts there is, and it's one of the fastest forts to take down with just a couple of siege towers. But it doesn't come up all the time. But usually when it does, you get a pretty good payout. And like I say, you can actually take and hook several of these up and just make a big round. It's a lot of fun to do with friends. Now, for those of you who have sailed with me in the past, like in Season 1, and you're watching this, and y'all are probably scratching your head going, man, I can't believe I'm seeing Cryptic use long guns and these darts, because he used to not really smack talk them. It just never was a weapon I cared to use much. It's taken some getting used to, but when you get a weapon as powerful as these can become now, that's why I've always hung on to them, because I always, I won't say new, but I will say in some of the early technical tests, they showed where they had some things where you could actually add these different types of effects to weapons. So I kind of figured they was going to be bringing that into the game. Now they had talked a little bit about it in some of the content stuff for the content creators in year one, but never really, anything never really came of it. So they were saving it for year two apparently, and that's fine. It finally got to the game, and that's really all that matters to me. But you can make, like just like with any other MMO RPG, you can make your own custom weapons, and that is where the power comes into your character. So that should have completed that. We will have that contract completed. And we can come back over here. We're going to get the laboratory kicking again. But like I say, you want to try and keep your lab and your refinery going, because that's where you're going to be making your pieces of 8 early on until you can start getting into World Tier 2. If you're a single role guy and or gal, and you're just out and you're just playing by yourself and stuff, you're going to find this game is going to be a little more difficult. The reason for that is it is really geared, especially with a lot of your bosses and stuff. Now I understand that there's the aspect of the single player game, and it's a lot of fun. The single player aspect of this game, your basic mission line and stuff. But when you start getting into having to go and attack the Plague King or the Hubok twins, or you got to go take on the Phoenix with Lee, and then you got to go take on Vikram and things like that, you're going to be just wow, maybe someone will ask for help, or I could ask for help and people will show up. There's no way to play. You can play it that way, but you're going to be disgusted trying to play the game that way. You want to make sure that you join a great team. So again, inviting you to join that Banished Souls group, and like I say, there's something for everybody. If you're just kind of guy that wants to roll around with some friends, maybe you don't really like sleeves. We got almost 20,000 there. We got almost 16,000 there. We're going to load up some more stuff. You want to keep these things producing, because if you keep them producing, this is all assets you can liquidate. I'm not going to do the jade. I'm going to keep it because sometimes I sell raw jade for those pieces of 8. Maybe you wonder, why do you do that? Well, because sometimes you might want to get that boost of 8s to finish something off. So, but I hope you've enjoyed the stream, guys, and I hope that this video has had some pretty good content as far as to help you out. But when you get that material there, you will take those materials. I need to show you this real quick. We showed you with Skurlock. He buys the rum pretty good. When it's White Skull rum or White Skull gin, he pays 100 a piece. If it's the Gold Skull, he pays 250 a piece. You want to bring the snuff and the opium, I believe it is. Yeah, you want to bring that here. And again, you have the black silver on the snuff. Then you have I think it's blue and black or something like that with the opium over here. So we can hit buy, sell. We come over here to sell. We're going to go ahead and switch over to the warehouse. And when you come down, she buys more than just that, by the way, just so you're aware of it. Maybe you've got things that you don't really like, the Artisan's Refinement Pack. I'm keeping those. I'm not selling those. That's something I'm going to keep. You have like plenty of this crap here, the Blighted Fuel. Right now I'm keeping it, but you get 25 a piece. There are places that pay 50, by the way, so don't sell it for 25 to her. There's places that pay more for brandy and wine and stuff. You want to look for who's buying it for the most. Now, when it comes to your skull products and stuff, so we have our Black Lotus opium here. She buys it for 250 a piece. The silver snuff she buys for 250 a piece. Then of course you have the Blue Lotus for 100 and the black stuff for 100. Now, same prices that Skurlock would pay for the liquors up there. Here she pays you 50 for white gin or 50 for White Skull rum, but you can sell it for the 125, I think it is. back over to Skurlock. So you need to make sure that you're selling stuff to the person who's going to give you the most for it. And that's how you keep your silver up. Now you may be wondering, well, how does that justify how much you have? Well, last year I went through, we did this stuff all, I mean, like just crazy, crazy. We had crazy numbers when it come to how much. So like this one here, White Skull Gin, we got right just under 18,000 of it. We got close to 19,000 of the rum, almost 18,000 of the gin. Now we used to actually have like 60 to 70 to 100,000 of the Gold Skull products, and of course the silver products and the black snuff products. We're close to 25,000 of that. So we're getting where I've been selling a lot of this stuff because I wasn't sure how much will transfer over into year two. In the past, we've had where warehouses at different seasons or different big resets, things would get reset, moved around a little bit. So I sold a bunch of that, liquidated it into silver, and was hoping that, okay, or silver, hopefully that's not going to continue to mess with that because they did at one point went through and reset all the currencies in the game. And that was right around season 3, I guess it was, the end of season 2, season 3 of year 1. And, it made a lot of people mad. There was a lot of people that, just had a real big fit about it. And while it sucked, it wasn't one of those things where it was a real big game ender for me because I had the kingdom set up. Now, pieces of 8 are not as easily accessible as they used to be. So we're going to look at that real quick right before we close here. So pieces of 8, they come from owning manufactories. As you can see, we have all but 2. Let's check this area. We can actually come up and buy Sangdad now. I'm going to do that real quick, and hopefully that other one will come up as a hostel or something tonight, and I can be completely done grabbing all the locations on the map. Is my plan for this evening. So we're going to show you this buyout here. You can't find buyout, so this is going to take fine Ramy. Looks like 50 is what it's going to require or something like that. Now, should be plenty of that in my warehouse. And that's the thing, you don't always have to have it on the ship because, hey, guess what? You have, of course, it's the other side of the island. I'm used to being on that inner curve there. I'm not sure why it does. It'll spawn you different locations sometimes. You just got to kind of pay attention to what you're doing a lot better than what I do. The reason for that, the reason I say pay attention to what you're doing is because the biggest enemy that you're never going to beat in this game is the wind. And it'll never fail. The direction you need to get to, and you want to get there quick, that's the direction the wind's coming out of, and it's just in your face, slowing you down constantly. Okay, so we want to go see if we can find a gentleman who's going to look like a ledger with a quill. On the map. I think he's up here to the left. I'm looking at the mini map. Sorry, I haven't really been paying attention to the screen. You just kind of bounce off walls doing that sometimes. Okay, yeah, there he is. Here he is. Yeah, so as you see, all the Ramy from my warehouse, it actually just loaded up. It's like over 18,000 of it. So we're going to go ahead and go manufacturing buyout, and we're going to buy that. And you may be wondering, well, how did you get so much of that stuff again? Pieces of 8 were a lot easier to come by back in the day. We were spending 8s by the millions because we could only transfer 300,000 between seasons in the past. And when you start spending, 10, 15, 20, 30 million pieces of 8 every season on materials, chests that carry those materials, you end up with a warehouse full of stuff. So something to keep in mind, guys. Don't start comparing your warehouse to other people. Don't compare your silver to other folks. If you want to learn, a lot of us will be more than happy to teach you. But if you go on videos where we're trying to help you and you start making accusations and stuff, most of the time all it gets you is blocked, and then you're never better off for it. You could have actually learned something. So I figured it's best to start putting some of these videos out. I see not just on my channel, but other channels in general, people make a lot of accusations toward these streamers who are actually trying to help you out. And they're taking time away from their game. Okay, so we now have Sangdad, as you can see. Now, that has the gear set, so I am not going to just allow that to fund what's currently being built there. I want to change that. I want to make sure that I'm doing something that's going to give me pieces of 8. So now that I'm making pieces of 8 there, I'm good to go. Now, if you aren't paying attention, if you look here, everything I've got making pieces of 8, but there's some of these when you first conquer zone that may be making other items. Let's find one here. Like this might have been one of them. Yeah, it seemed like this in here was making zinc ingots, or maybe it was making juniper plates or something. But that requires you to actually use pieces of 8 to fund it. Well, if you go ahead and say, you know what, I'm not funding that, I want to make pieces of 8 instead. Whatever material is built from the company or from the factory already being there in game, it's going to give you 8s on that, so it will give you a little boost on 8. So it's something to help you out there. But yeah, so that's what we're looking at now. You may be wondering, well, how do I pick up all these locations? Do I go around with my ship and pick all this stuff up? The answer is no. What I do is I have a fleet of ships here, and I need to make me a few more 11s, maybe just take some weapons off some of these 15s and stuff like that, and 13s, but make me a few more 11s and send these 11s. So this one here will pick up at 610. So I'm going to go ahead and wait because this is at 578. That one's at 708. So we could go ahead and say I could go pick that up in person. But what I want to do instead is I want to send a ship out here to do it. So I'm just going to grab any old ship. So there's a Leviathan that is good to go pick that up for me. There's 98 8s there now. The ship will arrive 610 pieces of 8 in it in 15 minutes and 50 seconds. So then you're going to come over and you want to look at all your factories here. Now some of these have auto collect areas. Oh, there was a question I had about how many auto collect areas. There are 5. I'm going to show those to you real quick. So North African coast here, we can claim our items immediately. This one here, we can claim that immediately. And then we're going to come down to South Africa, and it's the territory just above the bottom here. We're going to auto collect that. Then this one here just outside St. Anne, we're going to go ahead and auto collect this. And then there's one more over here in the Indies, and we're going to go ahead and auto collect that. Everything else has to be picked up manually or a ship sent to pick it up. Now, what your level of your ship has to do with how far away it is from a main port, which would be like Talak Panjara or even the Red Isle, St. Anne area. It's also going to have to do with the level of your fort. So like this one here is a level 2. So we could actually send a level 7 ship to pick that up. Maybe we could at 240. We'll go ahead and send this, and it's going to pick up 240, which leaves 2 pieces of 8 over there in the bank still, and that'll be back in 12 minutes. So then we come over here, and it's a level 3. We've got 506. I think we could send a level 8 ship over there. It's 340. Or we might actually want to send a level 9 at 420. See if we got an 11 here at 610. So let's send this level 9 here. That way it's not a whole lot of stuff over there, but we've got ships. And you want to do this periodically. You know, maybe once a day, come in and look, kind of see where it is that you're at. Like I say, this level 3 here, as you're going to be able to see, sending an 8, not really in the question of it. Probably wouldn't send a 9 either because it's kind of far away. Medium risk, but, you know, 610, this level 11 is going to be a little bit waiting on it, so we're not going to worry about sending anything there yet. So this level 2 here is at 220, but it is a pretty good distance away, so we'll have to look see if a 7 can actually pick that up. It'll be able to, so I'm going to go ahead and reassign that way I don't have to deal with it later. This here's got so much space in these forts here, I'm not have to worry about that. I think it's 1200 is what that can hold, or 1000, so I'll be good till morning on that. And that's the way you will pick up your pieces of 8s with your ships, guys. You don't have to make a ship for each factory. I've done that in the past. Now there's not enough for the entire area, all 3 areas. There's not enough ship slots to be able to do that. But what you do have is you can make, you know, maybe 5 for each zone. You know, and I would make them variable sizes unless you intend to bring everything up to certain, you know, to the max. Then it really doesn't matter too much. A lot of these lower level ships I didn't invest a lot of stuff into. They will either get upgraded and turned into ships later on in the game, or they will probably get deleted and I will be filling those ship slots with large ships is kind of what I'm looking at here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to assign a ship over here. It's not going to pick up for a while. So there is a hostile takeover. Like I say, you can join these and run these events if you want to. And what that's going to do now, level ones, as you can see, it's not going to let me send a ship. We'll have to go over there and manually pick that up. So what we can do, let's see how long before it starts in 5 minutes. I don't feel like waiting on that. I might do that later tonight, but you could run that and it will take it to level 2 when you complete it. You know, assuming you don't lose your territory to somebody or whatever. You never really know. Don't just assume that because you got a good ship, you're going to win every single one of them, because people travel in packs. You will have pairs. You will have pirates working together, helping their friends to gather the territories. And that's part of the game. And you could be a part of that too. Just let me know down in the comments. We'll send you that invite, guys. Have a wonderful night.